Welcome to the DSQ podcast with Blake Lawson and Dakota Reynolds.
All right, ladies and gents and non-binary beings, it's a sprint weekend. You know what that means. It's an hour-plus long episode of the DSQ podcast.
As the person that edits it, god damn it.
Now, we're taking steps to hopefully curtail the speed as he remembers to start the
Actually,
timer.
hit start on the timer for once. That was sitting right there. All right. Yep. Another sprint weekend. Austria. Not Australia. It's very right side up-ish. It's at a 90-degree angle, I guess.
Popular for other reasons.
No, it was pretty... Nothing happened in this race. All right, that's it. Thanks.
Roll credits.
Definitely a weekend. I want to start in chronological order.
Let's start in chronological order.
So starting with former F1 driver and the human embodiment of Minecraft Steve, David Coulthard, calling out the wrong Williams driver for hitting a pole. Now, yes, I would probably assume it was Logan too, but it was Alex and/or Alex's trainer, so get fucked.
It was a good guess, but you were wrong.
Incorrect. And I guess top of the show. As a Yuki Tsunoda fan, I feel like I have to obviously acknowledge the bad word he said in, this was quali, yes? Q1.
Yeah.
About 4 minutes left in GP quali, saying a bad word I'm not going to repeat. Well, I mean, he said fucking, but that's not actually the problem here. And it's Yuki, that's half of the words he says. But
Yes.
after that, saying a word that is a derogatory term that probably through, I feel like a lot of lifetimes has been used quite a bit, but not to be used, and yeah, not good. 40,000 euro fine, 20,000 of it suspended. Yuki bad. Anyway, FP1.
Spritz. Anyways. Before we get into FP1, I'm going to blitz through upgrades real quick.
Oh, yes. I forgot because it's such a non-upgrade track.
Right? Yeah. Speaking
Sprint
of
weekend.
non-upgrades, hey, power units and gearboxes. Joe took a new exhaust system. That's it. That's all that happened.
I foreshadowed without foreshadowing anything.
As for upgrades, Sauber and Mercedes both brought a minor aero upgrade to drag reduction. Ferrari brought extra cooling for the super hot Austrian heat. Audience, come here. We're gonna talk for a second. The temperature for the sprint race got up to 29.6 Celsius, or 85 degrees Fahrenheit if you're American. That's as hot as it got pretty much throughout this entire race weekend. The temperature here, right now, is 31.1 degrees Celsius, or 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Difference is, time of the sprint was noon, local Austrian time. The time as of right now is 7 p.m. This is both a call to grow up, also as a call of help.
Yes.
Please help us save the environment.
Yes, yesterday we had the heat index of 112 degrees. Which in Celsius is too fucking hot. And I think actually melting. Like 41 degrees.
Anyways, McLaren bring a new redesigned front wing geometry and suspension, and Toro Rosso bring a minor aero update for flow conditioning, whatever the hell that means. I don't know why I'm the one that always does the technical stuff, because I don't know as much about the technical side of racing, but here we are. No upgrades this week.
That implies I know anything about it.
I mean, you always seem to chat to me about the technical stuff from here and there, so yeah. Alright, no upgrades this week from Red Bull, Haas, Alpine, Williams, or Aston Martin, save, of course, for their continued partnership with Lance Strulovich.
Thanks.
Anyways, that's it.
The biggest downgrade of all. So, of course, testing out those upgrades and stuff. In this track is an interesting choice. Sprint weekend, only 1 hour-ish of running, and the fastest lap on the calendar.
Yeah.
So I guess if you're doing your high-speed components, I guess, cool, but
Set you
anything
up
else?
for Monza? Monza? Monza's the fast one, Imola's the windy one.
Sure.
Okay.
I was like, we've done Imola, so
Okay,
yes.
so Monza.
Speaking of that, FP1, yeah, nothing happened. except for Max turning off his engine. I'm sure that won't happen again to any other drivers twice.
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
But got it back rolling. Well, it was already rolling backwards for like 10 minutes, it felt like. And then just managed to pop it right back in. Didn't lose any running time. Impressive.
Fair enough.
And yeah, that's all the practice and everything we got. I don't think there was any incident or anything. So just a practice session. Didn't watch it live because it was like 5:30 in the morning because America. Screw that. SQ1.
SQ1. Hey, I'm going to jump out of order here for a second and say Yuki made an amazing save after a slip-up almost cost him in SQ1. Just full sent it to the side, full sent it back, corrected it, went on his way.
Yep, and SQ1, I mean, that was pretty much the biggest, like, potential incident. Yuki did do a good save. Yuki got through. My other notes was the first driver, first lap, was Lewis. Immediately snapped. Immediately had a snap of oversteer. Like, first thing, automatically over, gone. Him and Max were racing a little bit later in the session. You know, traditions. We'll get to that. Little did we know, he was refreshing his memory for later. But yeah, and I think the biggest thing was Logan Sargent.
Logan! SQ2! Rah! USA! USA! But at the cost of Alex.
Yeah, the person who's wearing a Williams shirt.
I mean, it's not I was gonna say, it's not Logan's shirt. It's just a Williams shirt. But
yeah, so that was good. Past that, it wasn't, because he was out in Q2, but still.
But he sounds like he's learning. Like, his radio message after the fact, he's sitting there talking about all the turns that he goofed up. So, it sounds like he knows what he's doing wrong. He just doesn't have the abilities yet to improve it.
So, kind of building up, and this is, of course, our favorite F1 strategist and Sky Race Control member, Bernie Collins, alluded to through each session is, the later they go out, it's a fast lap, but you still gotta watch the congestion and everything. SQ2, Red Bull, straight out, right immediately, got their shit done, and done. Also, my other note is Alpine good, question mark, because they made it.
Yeah, both of them made it into SQ3. How about that?
Yeah. Like, what? I mean, Aston Martin has apparently the biggest downgrade in the history of downgrades. Apart from maybe Red Bull, or Racing Bulls. See? Maybe they should change the name. Both stopped to take a drink at the same time. That's good podcasting.
Perfect sound material.
But yeah, so, and again, and SQ is the fastest qualifying. It breaks down to 12:10.8.
Gross.
Yep. It's quick, especially on this track. It's quick.
It's quick, but gross.
Especially if you're a Charles Leclerc, Charles Lepine.
Charles Lepine.
Sprint quality 3. Everybody waited. There was first, again, 8-minute session, 3 minutes of nothing.
I was like, it did give us one of my favorite and most classic George Russell lines of all time of, let's get cracking.
Everybody very ready to go. Everybody waited too long, apparently. Because 3 drivers did not make the flag to set a proper time.
To be fair to one of them, it was not necessarily his fault.
Sorry, 1 didn't set a time, 3 barely made time, sorry. Of course, Checo, because, you have such a good qualifying record, Checo, you need to be pushing the limit. Nonetheless, be mixed up with the Alpine boys. Barely making it through. And then Charles... Oh my god, the Monaco curse. Leclerc. Having did we ever figure out what it was?
So, that's why I had this pulled up. So I listened to the onboard, because, I got to listen to it after the fact on F1 TV. Engine seems to rattle in a really weird way, very softly. And then he has a hard time biting into what I believe is first gear from neutral. Starts driving forward a little bit, and then engine just rattles for a sec, death rattles, goes into what I'm guessing is recovery / anti-stall for about 10 seconds, then it just dies. Like, I don't know cars. as stated earlier, I sure as shit don't pretend to know F1 cars that well, although I probably know them better than regular street cars at this point. To me, it sounded either engine or gearbox, but I would assume engine. It's a very weird situation. I don't know. And like you said, it seems that he's spent all of his luck on Monaco. As like all of the luck got spent on Monaco.
It's like Trader
is
Quest.
in for a remaining like 12 races of just pain and misery.
Trader Crest, you win your home race finally. I receive you not making a podium for the rest of the season.
Monkey paw curls.
And it was close. I feel like there's some that said, but he did not take the checker, or he did take the checkered flag ever so slightly. No time set. Didn't really matter. He was just started P10.
Yeah. I was like, I really think the F1 TV crew put it quite well. SQ3, pretty much just a one-lap shootout.
Yeah. By design.
By design.
So
I think design.
I don't know if we said this. I guess we can say it after the sprint, but I say here. I think Austria needs to be taken off as a sprint race.
Absolutely. It's already fast.
Yep.
I was like, they have to make the race 71 laps to make it go enough distance to qualify for their guidelines.
That's so many laps.
That's so many laps.
But
hi, Steve.
yeah, I know. Adam might be mad at me.
Oh yeah, apparently.
Go follow us on Twitter if you want to know what I'm talking about. Yeah, but so sprint. I feel like every now and then we have a new pattern develop. We got Vernor Pi, or Pi. So that was our start. Onto the sprint, where we had a formation lap. And then, hey, I heard you like formation laps. Let's fucking run it back. And the explanation we got from photographer Kim Illman. I always feel like I'm not saying it right because it's spelled the way it's spelled. But, I'm American. I don't know how to say things. So apparently, on turn 1, obviously not on the track, but where, again, allegedly photographers have always been allowed to shoot, they realized it was probably maybe something a little too close. I don't know if they looked at the lineup, be like, hey, George is kind of up there. We got there's a big chance of someone going sideways. So they had Marshall, came from race control. They had a couple marshals go and try to push a few back. And then that's when they decided to go ahead. They didn't have enough time to do it. Went ahead and did the second formation lap, which they still let Alex do, even though starting at the pit. That was an interesting one. So did the second formation and then went back to the pit.
Which, I mean, technically they do have to do because he's fueled up for
True.
an extra lap.
So did that. They put more marshals out and pushed even the photographers that were back more than they normally were all the way back. So don't know if they changed the red zone in the moment or on purpose or was supposed to, because it was definitely not in the documents. Shout out to F1 Documents Bot. You should follow them on Twitter or X. I'm just kidding, it's Twitter.
Fuck you, Elon.
So, yep. So just a little thing. No real danger necessarily. Just being careful. And that was almost the only really exciting thing of the sprint.
Yeah, I remember.
One
Yeah, I remember 3 things from this sprint because it was at 5 a.m. and I didn't sleep beforehand, and then I got 4 hours of sleep afterwards before working a full 8 hours, coming home and writing down this summary. Those 3 things were the aborted start, the disappearing graphics, and other than the close battle between Lando, Oscar, and Max, like part of the way through, the sprint was boring as fuck.
Yep, I mean, that was it. There was that one pass, Lando, yay, Lando, and then he just, quoting self-admittingly, just left the door open.
Yep.
Which, F1 LOL, or LOL, Lolly, whatever. Not Lolly, hold on. The
3D animator?
The 3D animator, whose name I cannot remember, already had that one. He was ready on that one. They had the short ready, or they were. Yeah, I mean, and sprint, of note, Leclerc, up 3 spots. I know this part of your rundown, so I won't get too far into the positions.
Yeah, no, all good.
That was it. Hulkenberg was up good, and they got a 10-second for causing a collision with... Causing collision? What do I have? Yes. Forcing him to play another driver off the track with Alonso. We'll get to that later. He gets a penalty there. That's about it. They did give Alex the chance. Like, they didn't say Williams didn't say like to not do anything, so they had Alex and Logan race for a little bit there. I was like, eh. The only other note I have on that is everyone saying that Oscar should have let Lando through is wrong. This is, as you put, we are midway through the season, basically, and we're racing.
The time to fight is now. So it's
So-
like there is no clear victor yet. Let them race. They both have multi-year contracts at this point.
But, yeah, so I think it was rough. Let him race, and Oscar obviously got the P2 on that, so good. That's what I think. I don't know. I think we're foreshadowing to the rant on Lando I'm going to have after the race.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm. Quali for GP, now at 9 a.m.
I'm going to jump out of order real quick
Oh.
and say that Yuki made an amazing save after a slip-up almost cost him at the end of Q1.
Yes.
Of course, alluding to the aforementioned slur that we're not going to repeat, but just I figured, little bit of poetry there. It rhymes.
Which his statement was, I didn't know the full connotation of the word, and that's what I kind of guessed. I was like, obviously he knew it was using it as an insult, but maybe not the origins of that as an insult, so.
Yeah, he's English as a second language. His first language is not English.
So.
He's a gamer, so he probably learned that off of some Call of Duty fuckers.
Yep.
And didn't realize the actual connotations of it. I was like, if you look at his apology on Instagram, I was like, it even has the same sort of grammatical flow that he uses. It feels genuine and from him. So I was like, you fucked up a little bit, but you genuinely didn't know. You apologized. Life moves on. He's not a bad kid.
So yeah, for now, of course. Hopefully he's only paying 20,000, because if he pays 40,000 euros, it means he said it again, and that's definitely
Okay, yeah, that's border on cancel time.
So Q1, apart from that, apart from Yuki's credibility going out for a second there, also out was the two Williams. Sad Williams noises. Sauber, and then of course Lance Stroll. So the worst drivers on the grid on there.
Of course not.
Oh, sorry, the worst drivers on the grid, and then also Sauber and Williams. Out Q1. Do you have any? I was like, you were asleep for live Q1, so I don't know how much.
I think my only other notes for quali are in Q3. Yeah, they're definitely in Q3 because it's Charles and Oscar. So, carry on.
Yep. Q2, V-Carbs out, K-Mag out, Alonso out, Gasly out. I have a note of them not really having Yuki push on his. He had chance to go, but maybe tires were gone. I didn't really see anything else, so whatever. It's how it works. Q3, Lewis fucking kills a jack. Not doing.
Thankfully, but yeah, no, he absolutely just slaughtered that thing.
So
But for what shouldn't have been. So
yeah. I was like, was it team reprimand? No, his was a team fine. And then in Q1 and Q2, Hulkenberg get 2 pit lane infringements for their shenanigans. And they're to the pit lane, so it's harder. And this one of these kind of cutting in is what led to Yuki's frustration and outburst. But so on Hulkenberg's first one, team reprimand. Second one, no further action. Kevin Magnussen also did it, no further action. Max being slow, no further action. And then our final of, hey, let me know if you've heard this one before, Verstappen, Norris, Russell.
Only things extra that I have for this is apparently Charles decided to start his rally career this session because towards the very end of Q3 decided to full send it off of I don't even know the corner numbers at this point. I should probably start writing them down, putting them in an image, whatever. It was towards the end of the lap. Went off-road, went over the gravel, hit the grass, jumped that, destroyed the entire floor.
Yep.
It was amazing. It was great.
It's been a fun week it's been a fun weekend for Charles.
I don't want to see anything that Matt has to say right now because it's only going to be pain.
Yep.
It's just as much pain as I feel for Logan and Alex. It's going to be just as worse. And then other than that, Oscar, of course, getting his lap time deleted at the end of Q3, demotes him from P3 to P7. I did get the chance to watch the video of it because I rewatched highlights, rewatched the actual event. It's definitely track limits. He first goes on the curb, all 4 tires cross the white line. He's off the track completely. Love the kid. It sucks, but it is what it is.
It was track limits.
Yeah.
Blue, you can see the blue in between the white and the tire.
Yeah. It was a valid challenge by McLaren, absolutely, but it's track limits.
Which I did want to bring up on that, too, is the challenge was met with the FIA saying, well, you didn't give us any proof of anything, so...
Oh, yeah. No, that's the next part of my thing here. Fuck the FIA, though. Anytime any team brings up a challenge or whatever, it's just an immediate, fuck you, no, I'm not looking at it, you're wrong, thanks for the 2,000 euros, toss off, wanker.
That's why I think next year our lead race director will be Wes McCauley. Hockey reference. Oh yeah, we did record last episode in the middle of Stanley Cup final. That's over. I'm not talking about it.
Yeah, fuck Florida.
Fuck Florida. All right, race.
Let's go gambling.
Oh, dang it. I was like, I don't want to go in order. Just go over the top and say, because I was gonna look this up, and I don't think I did because I'm not smart enough to actually go and check this stat. For sure, this season, this is the most penalized race.
I mean, yeah, it was definitely something where we'd have to sit there and go through everything. But, I
For
mean,
sure
I could probably
this
do that. I'll leave myself a note and try to do that at the end of this and check it for next race.
Yep.
Which is next week. Woo!
Yep. End of our triple header, Silverstone, last midway point, so Silverstone the home race for a lot, so it could be chaos. That's probably definitely going to be an hour-long episode no matter what we do.
Yeah. More talk on that later.
Yep. All right. So, fastest driving calendar, fastest track on the calendar, fastest lap on the calendar. Lap 1, shenanigans.
Chaos!
So 2 new front wings, one for lucky boy of all good fortune ever, Charles Leclerc. I still don't have who we got contact with.
Charles came in contact with Piastri.
Okay. Well, I have Oscar hitting Checo, though.
No, actually. So, Leclerc got sandwiched. So that happened a little later on in the lap.
Okay.
But Leclerc got sandwiched between Perez and Piastri. Piastri on his outside. And, again, this is something that I have a full section on here in a second. But, yeah, he came in contact with Piastri. If you want to continue on, and I'll get to my full thing here in a minute.
Well, so you can go ahead and go with yours. I'm pretty sure it leads to the same point of what happened to Logan.
I mean, yeah.
Speaking of penalties, that didn't happen.
Both of these. So yeah, Logan also got out of front wing because of a collision with Lance. Both of these are racing incidents, but I feel they're both caused by a lack of awareness of Piastri and Stroll. Stroll turning into a tight corner. Did I put that right? Yes. Yes, I did. Okay. Stroll turns into a tight corner. Alex locks up in front of him, and obviously Lance is already on full brakes. He can't brake any harder than he is. But instead of taking the designated runoff area, decides to make his turn even tighter on lap 1, where there's going to be cars to his inside because he's on the outside of the track. Absolute dumbassery. But that's Lance for you. Piastri, on the other hand, lap 1, turn 1, and he just turns in as if Charles isn't there. I mean, sure, 3 wide really doesn't go into turn 1, but that, again, is what the runoff area is for. Look no further than directly behind those 3. Of course, Piastri, Leclerc, and Perez. Look behind those 3 to Nico, Ocon, and Daniel. Also, all 3 of them went 3 wide into turn 1. Not a scratch on them. Why? because Daniel and eventually Nico took the runoff area. I was like, you can't overtake after that, obviously, but it's going to save everybody's race. I was like, it's unfortunate racing incidents that could definitely have been solved with a bit more situational awareness.
What bothers me the most about Logan's is it's race 1, turn 1. Race control stewards don't do shit on race 1, lap 1. Sometimes, but mainly not. Maybe depending on what country you're from. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. But they didn't even note it. Like, it just was like, oh, hey,
It happened.
Lance took out the American Ola.
Yeah.
Shit, anyway. So that's the only thing, is like, didn't even note it. Clearly, they were very
penalty happy.
throwing out the penalties.
They got as bored as we did during the sprint race and handed penalties out like Oprah.
Which, talking about the first one, lap 21, Alonso onto Zhou, 10 seconds for causing a collision.
Yep.
Hey, there was that payback from the sprint quali.
Yep.
Or sprint, excuse me. I mean, that was kind of just wasn't too damaging, really. I mean, Formula 1 cars are fragile, so it's damaging to a certain extent, but that's just the nature of the car. It didn't ruin Zhou's race.
I mean, I don't think much could have ruined Zhou's race.
Yeah. And then not soon after that, fucking Oscar, taken after Inspector Russell over here, checks that Sir Lewis Hamilton crosses over the line on pit entry. So that's a 5-second penalty there.
Which specifically race director's notes. Version 2 specifically.
Yes.
It's like, I looked this up. It was in blue.
I don't think it was it was different. So because it was in blue, so it was.
Yeah. I was like, I'm pretty sure version 2 was the one on that one. And version 1 I don't think had that section in there.
Huh.
It's just like specifically whenever they're doing pit entry, they have to stay to the right of that. If they're just racing, they can cut in and out, but if they're pitting, they have to stay to the right of it. If any part crosses it, penalty.
Yep. So I guess Oscar was like, oh, you're going to call track limits, let's fucking go. So that's... I have lap 24, Verstappen, and maybe foreshadowing, cutting it a little unsafe release in front of Lando Norris getting to his pit box. No further action there.
Yeah, the stewards decided they wanted to leave the circuit alive.
Yep. Well,
Not
there's
too
that
alive, though.
Yeah. After that, and I got that on lap 24, after that, the other Red Bull, speeding in the pit lane, another 5-second penalty there. They're up to 3 for 20 total seconds. Lap 35 should be a penalty, but it's not. Esteban pulling in Esteban again and making light contact and cutting in, impeding Pierre Gasly. So clearly that's not going to work for the rest of the season. There's still 13 races left.
He's not doing himself any favors. I was like, yes, you need to show these teams that you can go fast because you don't have a seat currently. But you also need to show them that you play well with others. This is a team sport as well as an individual sport.
Yeah, so, but same thing, not even looked at. So I guess, I mean, there was some place giving back and whatever, and they were straight up like, yeah, you're not getting that spot back. It was like, that spot is his, and you're probably not going to pass him. So, next penalty, Alex for pit lane, same pit lane infringement.
Yep, same thing.
So, another 5-second penalty. And now, all this was kind of like... we made the note, obviously, having multi-viewer up, that this was the fastest. The race control and then the stewards noted and pulled up to stewards and handed out penalties the fastest. And obviously, you made the point of like, well, when the slowest lap time was like a 1:11, you don't have a lot of time to faff about.
Yeah, no. So I was like, if they use their standard like timeline and everything, they would note the penalty and have you a decision in 10 laps time. So yeah, no, not a lot of time at all.
Yeah. So this is the whole block of the race that no one's going to remember. Now let's talk about lap 56.
Lap 56.
This is where Lando gets a black and white flag for track limits. I'm calling this the genesis of where shit goes up real bad real quick. So we went back and looked at the document for the lap times, and it was not 3 in a row, but the 3 that were in a row were all Lando. It wasn't necessarily 3 consecutive laps, but
yeah.
So Lando was 1, 2, 3, and out. So lap 56, tries to overtake Max, goes off the track, gives the position back. However, you were warned, you were issued the black and white flag.
Yeah, you already had the warning, so...
So there's the 5-second penalty.
Still hadn't given it to him yet, though.
No, correct.
This was the longest penalty that it took to give to.
Not before. I guess it did take a couple laps. Because that was lap 56. Lap 64.
That's
A
64.
71 lap race. Do you remember Monza? Is it Monza?
Are you talking Max and Lewis?
Yeah. I mean, several, but
I mean, yeah.
we'll talk about the Genesis.
Monza was the sitting on top of each other. Yeah.
Well, I guess maybe then Silvers. No, because they both were out in Silverstone. I don't know.
I think the specific Silverstone you're talking about is the one where he sent Max into the wall at 51 Gs.
So, okay, we can get a direct comparison. Whatever. Contact. What everybody knew was coming. And I will let you recount how it went down live as we were watching.
I made the comment while they were racing pretty close to each other, and Lando was starting to get closer and closer and staying on Max's tail. I was like, you know, what are the odds that they take each other out? And you go,
No. And then the
he
same
immediately made
second.
contact.
Made contact, both off in the turn. Both of them immediate catastrophic punctures. Somehow Max's tire decides to stay on mostly. There's carbon everywhere, which I forgot to mention. There was also a piece of an Alpine somewhere on the track that just fell off randomly, like no contact.
That was
forgot about
just
that.
Esteban Ocon.
That was Esteban?
Yeah, it was Esteban.
Of course it was.
Piece just fell off of
Not
him.
even the car wants him to
Like,
drive
it wasn't even like someone made contact with him, I don't think, or anything.
off.
It just a whole
It just gave up.
chunk of carbon fiber just bloop.
Yeah, so now they both with punctures, both with obvious floor damage, body damage, wing damage, I'm sure plenty of it. They both start their crawl-ish. Lando definitely was worse off with the puncture. This is where he gets the 5-second penalty.
Yeah, they immediately, once that happens, within about 10 seconds, they popped the 5-second penalty for Lando.
So Max makes it back to the pits, gets his tires, gets on some softs, sets a start slap, continues, he's down in P5, not getting the spot back. Lando pulls in. He is issued the 5-second penalty at this point.
Yep, already has it.
We never saw them serve the 5-second. We assume they did.
I believe, based on what I saw on the, actually, for something different, I went to the DHL fastest pit stop award thing. They actually will give you all of the pit stops throughout the race and what times they were. Because I actually needed to look that up for something else this week. And yeah, I do believe they did serve that.
Okay. I mean, it made sense. But at that point, it really wasn't worth it. So after the 5-second penalty, they got the tires on, they got the new nose on. He just jumped out the car, and that was the end of Lando Norris's race. So from an arguably first. I don't know if that's even...
Arguably?
Well, yeah. To a DNF. But we're not done with the penalties quite yet. Because the contact, these stewards, and this one actually did come out pretty... this was a lot...
Quick relative to how much time they had left.
Yeah, because I have Lance retiring at the start of lap 66. So went probably right when... Yes, sorry, Lando.
I know, force a habit, but Lando.
Retiring at lap 66, what I assume is when the front hit lap 66, obviously he was behind. So, I mean, by that time, Max got his penalty. At that point, he was also 15 seconds ahead of Hulkenberg. So it's not really going to do much. At the end of the race, he was 25 seconds ahead of Hulkenberg, so it really didn't do much.
Although, I haven't looked at the decision document. Did that give him penalty points as well?
Yes, Max is on 8.
Oh.
No, sorry. Max is on 4. Alonso's on 8.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. God, K-Mag's doing a good job of not getting banned. It's been like 4 races.
Right? been a good boy.
So, yes. I don't know how to get into this, because this is the turning point of the season, 100% for this.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
And maybe their friendship.
Yeah. I will say, the last third of this race made up for the entire sprint.
Yeah.
So, take the sprint off, leave the race on. Let's go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is the sort of altering friendships sort of thing.
Which I guess we can talk about in depth. Let me just go through the finish. Oh,
You're good.
Finishing. Of course, all that little George Russell, not little George Russell, fucking 6 foot and million George Russell, Oscar Piastri, and Carlos Sainz. So a very different cast for the podcast this week.
Yeah.
There's your finishing. They're in the cool down room. They're laughing it off because they know that this is insane what we just saw.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get to the incident.
The incident.
I was like, if you want to start, because I feel like I will get ranty about it. So,
I mean, if you want to get ranty, I'll try to like interject. But I was like, I mean,
I'm the ranty one here.
Go on your rant.
Both drivers are at fault here. I'm not saying that it's not mostly Max's fault. I think it's probably 75, 80% Max, 15, 20% Lando. Saying it's like, oh, challenging Max, and he doesn't like to lose. This is old school Max. Lando. Okay, sorry. Red Bull, bad pit stop. Front right?
It's like, I believe front. It was whichever tire had the puncture. I distinctly remember that. It was the whatever tire had the puncture, but I believe that was the front right.
His puncture was rear. Max's puncture was rear left.
No.
No?
Lando's, I think, was rear or something.
I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember seeing tires.
Yeah. Tires all over the place.
A bad pit stop and then track limit. You can argue track limits all you want. It's the rule of the race. It is what they agree to race upon when they race in the thing, so it is part of the race. So, maybe Lando wasn't in as great as a position of that he thought he was in there. Now, yes, the crash was caused by Max. I will definitely admit that. And most of this was caused by Max, but it is not just Max's fault. And Lando's starting to get a little pissing me off a little bit. And I'm probably going to piss a lot of people off with this. I'm so happy he won Miami. Like, we called it at the start of the season. He was getting a win this year. Finally happened. But ever since that, it feels like he is entitled to the number one spot every time. And something always goes wrong. And he was super kind of pouty after the race before this, which was Spain. Thank you. It wasn't as pouty this race, but still, I was like, there was just a lot of anger and resentment. And he's like, if Max doesn't even admit fault, we're done. It's like, okay, first of all, you don't need to say that. It's not very, like, you guys are adults. You guys are mates. Best bruv.
Best bros.
And I don't know. I just feel like Lando's turned a little... I don't know what the correct word is for it.
Almost making a heel turn.
Yeah.
To use wrestling terms.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I'm not like it. It's not little Lando Norris. It's anger, bitter Lando. And yeah, again, Max caused the incident, and I agree, apart with what Julian Palmer was saying after, of, this is kind of an old school Max, but it's like, yeah, but this is Max. I don't know. I feel like the argument that was made on the post-race show with Julian was just making the wrong points to me. And just not, like, contradicting himself in the point where just, like, I lost interest. I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're saying because you don't know what you're saying, so I'm kind of just... I was like, you're on a panel with two other people, one of which is, what is his name?
Talking about Will?
Yeah. I was like, you're making less sense than Will Buxton is right now, man. But, that's my little thing. I'm just like, Lando needs to focus back on what Lando is. I'm not saying he's not a title contender, but he's not the dominant force that he's trying to say he is, and like, oh, it's just little mistakes, or oh, I got pushed off, he pushed me off.
He's focusing too much on being a race winner and not on the actual racing.
Yes, which, depending, and this is, again, I think this is the turning point, depending how this goes, it could cost them second place, or potentially even first place in the constructors, because obviously Checo, point of, Max having a puncture, bad pit stop, and a 10-second penalty, still finished, 15 seconds ahead of Perez?
Oh, yeah, 17, I believe.
17 seconds ahead of Perez. So McLaren is very much can still get the constructors this year if they so wish.
They could do it.
So,
but yeah, I've watched a separate interview with Max after the fact, like maybe an hour or so ago. He made the comment that it sucks that it happened. It's not great for either of them, but at the end of the day, he's a racer. He's racing.
yes.
He's gonna make moves that are dumb sometimes. It's gonna happen. I also feel a little bit like Max's car luck just has not gone well since, I made this comment earlier to you, since he stopped replacing his headrest every race.
It was funny you mention that, because I did check that in the notes, in the Park Ferme notes. I was like, nope, he didn't change the headrest.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I've checked that every week to see if he does or not, and he does not.
It's like the theory we had a couple of years ago where Max doesn't win if he's wearing the flat bill hat.
Yeah.
So if he's not wearing the flat bill, it was good. When he won the flat bill, he didn't do good. I think that was like he wore the flat bill in the 2 street races Checo won at the start of the year.
Yeah.
And then Max was just like, okay, yeah, I'll try it out. And then dominance.
As he does.
Anyway, Lando, I still love you, but you're getting me mad. Don't make Lewis be my favorite British driver right now.
Oh, gross. What about George?
He did the fucking arms out thing again.
Okay,
Fuck off.
that's his thing. That's what he does now.
It was a.
You gonna hate on fucking Danny Rick for drinking from his shoe when he wins? No, you're not.
No, the flesh-eating bacteria will though. Oh.
Yeah, no. Let him have his little funsies.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm here for Oscar. I want Oscar to. As much as I'm still like, I'm a Yuki fan, but I still like. I don't know, just because the way I started watching, I want Max to win. Like, if he dominates at the start, I want him to dominate. Like, that's how I am. I'm weird, I know, I guess.
That is kind of weird. Yeah, I'm always an underdog person, so...
I was like, so, like, if he sucks starting next year, I'll be fine if he loses every race. But I don't like the dominant slight. I don't know. It's weird. It's just when I started watching. My first full race was 2021. So, I mean, I watched a little bit of CODA that year, but 2021 was the first one I was, like, locked into the entirety of the race. And also not knowing, like, what's happening? And you're like, I don't know. This is not Nerd Up. Cool. All right. I guess I'm not done ranting because we got to talk about Driver of the Day vote.
Driver of the Day!
Are you fucking kidding me? Lando Norris gets Driver of the Day? I know Max can't win it. I don't think Max should have won it. I definitely don't think Lando should have won it either.
I don't think either
That's
one
insane.
of them deserved a Driver of the Day victory there. But to be fair, well, no, not to be fair. That vote starts really far out. I think it especially started like 12 to 14 laps ahead of the end of the race this time because the laps are so short, so you have less time to vote for it. So, yeah, that incident would have either already happened or would have happened 1 to 2 laps into the vote.
Yeah.
So,
no. That non-deserved Driver of the Day vote here. I voted for Charles.
I also voted for Charles.
Because he had a shit race and managed to get up to
11th?
Yeah, he was up 9 from the start. Now, yes, he was down 5, but he managed to gain 9 spots in this race.
Yes.
So,
Which
yeah.
I'll get into.
Yep. What order are we going? Do we do rundown last? Do we want to do stars? Do you
rundown goes last.
Okay.
We do rundown and then we do the...
Try to end the episode for 20 minutes and ramble.
Do the ramble.
I was like, before we get into stars, you have a caveat or something before yours, right?
I sort of... I didn't really have a third going into this whenever I was writing these. So I sort of combined my first 2. So we'll both do our third, and then I'm going to let you do both of your 2, and then my top 2 are going to be basically combined.
My third is a team, and it's Haas. Because sprint. Let's take a look. Hulkenberg had the penalty, but still got up 3 spots. Where is Hulkenberg? Or not, where is Hulkenberg? Where is K-Mag? Up 2 spots.
Just outside the points.
Yep. Good racing from them. Race. P6 and P8 in a Haas. Up 3 spots. K-Mag up 4 spots. Like,
even if Max and Lando don't crash out, that's still P8 and P10.
yeah. It's actually P7 and P9. Because Max was still in front of them. So they were only...
Oh, well,
yeah,
yeah,
they've only been 1.
So, yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah, so still solidly in the points. I mean, that's... For Haas, that's insane.
Yeah.
That's magic. Am I still doing your... Or you, cause, yeah,
No, I'll do my 3. So number 3, third star for me, Charles Leclerc. He had a very demoralizing SQ3 and a lackluster Q3, but they both paved the way for 2 amazing recovery drives. While he finished the full race out of the points, he was able to recover from P19 to P11, just outside of them, and he scored 2 points in the sprint. Yes, his luck is seemingly going out the window because he won Monaco, but he still got his racecraft. He may not have luck, but he has racecraft. So, third star, Leclerc.
Which leads into my number 2 star, Charles Leclerc, for the same reasons. Recovery drives proved that even with the bad luck, he will still at least try when his engine lets him, when the strategy doesn't screw him.
He took 3 pit stops this race.
He did take 3 pit stops. There was a little bit of strategy shenanigans I saw some aftermath of, and I mean, that's Ferrari. I mean, we are not new to this. That's how they roll.
It's baked in. It came with your Ferrari drive.
Gotcha. So I do my number 1, 2, and then...
Mm-hmm.
All right. My number 1 star, up 5 spots in the race. Granted, 2 of those being a little wreck. And then 1 spot in the sprint on a good overtake, I'll argue. Oscar Piastri. Another good race for Oscar. I feel like he's just... Even though he's a dominant driver, I'll say. He's got the characteristics of a dominant driver. He's still a quiet driver. Like, he still just gets... He goes out there, gets the job done. Mostly stays out of trouble. Looks at lap 1.
That's just a blanket, just lack of situational awareness, I feel.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
it's your start. So
the FIA has said that they are 100% okay with lap 1, turn 1 being chaos and no repercussions, basically. So
the hell with it,
whatever.
I guess. Yeah. And he was in consideration for me, and then I completely forgot about the whole Hulkenberg situation, so that didn't play into my mind too well. So I'm alluding to my number 2 and number 1 stars basically being the Haas team, but I wanted to put them but didn't know what order to put them in, so they're 1 and 2 collectively. Almost everything seemed to go right for them this weekend. They had mostly clean driving, very lucky breaks at the end with Max and Lando. Solid racing to the line by Nico against Perez. Like, they finished within a second of each other because Perez was on his ass. He was ready to take that position back. Didn't happen. Nico kept it clean and kept it ahead of Perez. And also the excellent pit work. They had 1 pit stop that was over 3 seconds long. And even that was like less than 3.5 seconds. All of them were under that, beyond that one. So it does see the team score 12 points this week, pushing them past Alpine into 7th in the Constructors' race. Very, very good job to Haas.
Aston has just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right. It's everybody's favorite time.
This is the theme music to the rundown. The race rundown time. So once again, it is a sprint weekend, so we have 2 of these to get through. So get ready, because This pen's not going to stay in the notebook, so we're going to put it there. All right, for the sprint race, for the Austrian sprint race, Max Verstappen finished P1, lost 0 places. That's where he started. It's Max. What do you expect? Oscar, once again, gaining a position, finishing P2. Lando losing that position, finishes P3. George, Carlos, and Lewis finish 4th, 5th, and 6th, gaining no spots. Charles, P7, gained 3 positions from his start. Checo loses a position to finish in P8 to grab the last of the sprint points.
Checo's new favorite, P8.
P8, yeah. What was the joke on the meme channel that we saw? Was it P8 res?
Yeah.
Okay. It's stupid, but it was good enough to get a giggle out of me, so. K-Mag finishing P9 just outside of the points, but gaining 2 positions. Lance Stroll finishing P10, gaining 2 positions. Esteban Ocon finishing P11, losing 3. Pierre following him, finishing P12, losing 3. Yuki gained 1 position to finish P13. Daniel gained 2 to finish P14. Alonso lost those 2 to gain P15. To finish P15. Logan lost a position to finish P16. Alex gained 3 positions. Excuse me, I'm ready for the Alex slander this week, I guess. Alex gained 3 positions, finished P17. Valtteri did not change and finished P18. Nico lost 2 spots and finished P19 because of that penalty. I didn't write that down, but you reminded me of it, so here we are. And Zhou Guanyu lost 1 position, finished P20. Of note, Alex did start from the pit lane because he changed his setup in Parc Ferme, so gaining 3 spots from starting in the pits. Pretty neato. On to the Austrian Grand Prix. First place was George Russell, gained 2 spots to win that race. Oscar Piastri finished P2 to gain 5 places to do that. Carlos Sainz gained 1 position to finish P3. Lewis gained a position to finish P4. Max loses 4 places due to his collision with Lando and the subsequent 10-second penalty that came from that, but still finished P5. Nico Hülkenberg finished P6, gaining 3 spots. Checo gained a spot to finish P7. K-Mag gaining 4 spots to finish P8. In the points, wonderful. Love it for him. Denny Rick finished P9, gaining 2 spots. Pierre Gasly gains 3 spots to finish P10 and get the last point of the Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc makes his amazing recovery drive after contact with Piastri on lap 1. Lost 5 positions overall, but finished P11. Esteban Ocon finished P12, losing 2 positions. Lance Stroll gained 4 positions and finished P13. Yuki did not change any positions, so he finished P14. Alex Albon, also after his 5-second penalty, ended up gaining 1 position, finishing P15. Valtteri Bottas gained 2 spots to finish P16. Zhou gains 3 positions after an also pit lane start after a setup change in Parc Ferme. Finishes P17, gained 3 spots. Alonso loses those 3 spots and finishes P18, and also got the fastest lap at the very end of the race. Logan Sargent, after contact with Lance Stroll, lap 1, turn 2, causes him to have to replace his wing. Not that he needed help, but he doesn't change any positions, so he finishes P19. And Lando Norris does in fact classify because it was within the percentage of the race that is needed to classify. Finishes P20, lost 18 positions, I believe 7 laps down.
Oof.
Yeah. But I didn't note it this week, but I believe so at one point Max had lapped everyone up to, I think, 8th place.
Yeah. It was Checo and everybody else.
Yeah. I think everyone up to I think Ocon or Lance finished on the lead lap after Max had to drop down. Yeah. And then everyone beyond that lost a lap. Logan was 2 laps down, and then, Lando 7.
7 laps.
That's
all right.
Austria.
That was a race. There's going to be plenty of stuff to talk about in the next week, but we're not done with racing because it's a triple header to Silverstone. the home Grand Prix of just everybody.
Yeah, that is McLaren, that is Williams, that is Mercedes.
Except not, because we remember that today.
Yeah.
Because they're German.
They're German, but there is no German race, so... Not anymore,
Just like Toto,
anyways.
who's Austrian. Not German. But yeah, not that we do predictions for the next week on the week or anything like that, but given that Haas is an American team and the next American race isn't until Austin, I feel like we're getting an Ollie Behrman announcement next week.
Yeah.
Probably.
That could be.
Maybe a Williams announcement, but I don't know.
Hey, I'll do a prediction. Not specific, though. Who do we think is going to almost die this weekend?
Jeez, I don't know.
Silverstone just likes to almost kill people.
Well, given what we saw today, both Max Verstappen and Lando Norris.
Yeah, apparently. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Depends. I mean, I don't think we'll have another Zhou Guanyu almost dying thing, because Nicholas Latifi's not out of position to cause that wreck. So
Oh, God. I'm going to be paying close attention to Logan Sargent this weekend.
he's going to get his best he's going to use the confidence in his sprint to qualify the best he ever has in Silverstone. We're going to have a repeat. We're going to have fucking Yuki Tsunoda halfway upside down into a wall in turn 1. I was like, we don't have an actual rookie, so...
Yeah, no, we don't.
Yep. Alright, off to Silverstone, I guess. And I think coming up after that, so like, it's a halfway point, but it's not summer break. I think we still have like a week off in one race, and then it's the summer break. No, 2 off. Two.
Would you like me to get the board?
No. So.
Shut up.
Almost there. God, so many races. We're not. I guess halfway through, we're right there. We're 49%. I'm sure that's not the actual math. I'm sure it's actually like 43 point whatever, but I don't care.
I mean, what? 24?
11 of 24, yeah. It's math.
25 would be 4% increments, so
Yeah, math.
we're like 45.
45.
We'll say 45.
Oh, it's going to be a long season, and I feel like it's about to kick off. Because between this and then the driver market.
It's about to be a double silly season because we're going to have the regular silly season, which is the driver market, and then we're going to have Max and Lando trying to send each other off into the wall.
All right, what's going to be it? I was going to say one more prediction, but we did make predictions for Silverstone and British drivers specifically, so... Which sucks, 'cause I think I had Lando Norris winning. I definitely don't want Lando to win right now, so...
Hey, points!
Yeah,
Oh,
what cost?
Something that I didn't note during the rest of this podcast, but this was indeed the first DNF for McLaren, meaning all teams now have a DNF to their name. Even though technically didn't DNF. Retirements.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep, so now just Stake can just score a point. Everybody will be even on those categories and get us points.
Woo!
All right, let's move on to the next.
Follow the pod everywhere at DSQ Pod. And follow the crew at Medic50 and at GoaluCody30.